Hi everyone, welcome to Juan Design. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to draw a three-dimensional sphere using Procreate. Now, I won't be really teaching the quirks of Procreate since this is only going to be focused on the illustration aspect. If you want me to make you a video on how to use Procreate, let me know in the descriptions, or I mean on the comments. Sorry. So we first start with like our canvas. This is a 13 by 13, but you can set it up to any size. 13 by 13 inches. It could be 1000 by 1000 pixels, as well as the resolution. So let's get started. We first want to go ahead and choose. I'm going to be using a ink stroke with Pen Studio. That's usually the one I usually go to, and I'm gonna set up. So we're gonna try and do gradient scale. So we're gonna put it. It could be any color if you want like a cool one or a more warmer color. But in this case, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can tell the difference in a small way, but when it comes to grayscale, you can barely notice the difference. So we're gonna go with probably like a mid-size gray. Go back, go to our canvas, and we're just gonna do a circle. Now it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but what you do is you just do your circle and you hold it, and then the circle will get refined. So you just go, then you increase the stroke size, you just hold, and if you press with your finger, it'll make it a perfect circle. So what you want to do, like around there, and then we drag our color, and then we drag into the circle, and that's how you automatically fill it in. Now this is just a normal circle, right? We want to make it to a sphere, and the way you create a sphere is creating depth, meaning you create light and you create shadows to sort of make the illusion there's a 3D object. But it's not only a 3D, the gradation and the colors or the type of grayscale that you want to do. There's more elements and components that goes into a 3D shape. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it a little bit towards the middle. Maybe make it just a little smaller. You go back, make it even, just a little smaller, and put it right in the center, maybe there. So one of the things that I like to start the most is, where's the light gonna come from? Is it gonna come straight down or in an angle or this way? Sorry, my dog is chewing on something and it's making noise on the background. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. Just my dog was making a little bit of noise. Now, if I create another layer and bring it down, I decided that the light source is gonna come this way. So what is going to help me guide my light source is probably going to be a shadow. So a shadow will be darker than the actual circle. And actually, let me bring this up so I can show you exactly how it works. So you want to create sort of like an ellipse symbolizing like a shadow. So you kind of do the same thing as the circle. You make an ellipse, you hold, and you can downsize it or make it enlarge it. And then you can also kind of adjust it a little bit, maybe right there. Now you just grab the color, black, drag it in, and this is supposed to be the shadow, but since it's on the upper layer, it's gonna overlap the circle. So you just bring the layer down, and now you create a shadow. See how it starts getting into like that three-dimensional illusion that we were talking about? So maybe just adjust a little bit down, a little bit more straight. There you go. So now we decided that the shadow or the light source is going to come this way. It's going to hit this this part, and it's going to cast a shadow. So what we do next is I like to select the layer, click on it, go to select. Now when you click select, this is only going to allow you to draw within the area that's selected. So if I choose open another layer, and let's say I want to paint it, sort of orange. So once it's selected, I cannot paint here, but I can paint here. See, it does not go over the area that is not selected. So I can do that, but we're not gonna do that right now. We're gonna delete this. I'm gonna open a new layer, and then we're gonna start doing our gradation. Now, this is like a mid-size color, so we can go ahead and tap and hold, and it's gonna bring us to the color that it is. So I want to bring it just a little darker here. And I just want to color in like sort of not half of it, but one section curved, which is gonna make it look three-dimensional. So let's just, for the sake of making this a quick video, we're gonna leave it there, and we're just gonna drag. Oh, sorry. Sometimes it doesn't really capture the whole thing, so you might want to trace even the outer part of the selected area. There you go. So now you see how it's looking a little bit more three-dimensional because this is lighter and this is darker, and now you have your cast shadow. So we're gonna keep doing the same thing. I like to use different layers, that way if I mess up on one, I don't have to start all over again. I could just delete that layer. Like, for example, let's say I messed up here or whatever, so I can just go ahead and delete this layer, and then I do a new one. So go here and trace the outer parts, that way you can fill in. Oops, nope. You can always just fill it in manually, but if you want to kill some time, you can just go ahead and do that. Now we want to make it a little bit lighter, so we go back to the color. We make it just a little lighter. Then maybe we can make it over here. Fill out the exterior one so it will fill quickly. And there you go. Now you see that it's kind of getting this sort of sphere shape and depth because of the light source and the shadows. Now it's not really probably precise. Like maybe this one should be a little bit more rounder because the light source is hitting there, but it's hitting it in a way that it makes it proportional. But for the sake of this video, we're just gonna leave it like this for a while. Now we do the same thing. We just go a little lighter, maybe even white, or the color of the canvas, which is probably the ultimate white. And then we can make it smaller, maybe a little bigger. Maybe I want to do it a little bit. To redo, you just double tap with 2 fingers, or tap with 2 fingers. Oops, nope. Guess I'm missing part right here. There you go. But let's say that's not the actual lightest I want to go. So I'm gonna go to the color, make it just a little brighter, go to that layer, drag and drop, and my final one will be actual white. So we'll go to white, we'll create a new one, there you go, and drop it in. Is it white? There you go, white. Now, one of the things is that when you are drawing a sphere and the light source is coming this way, so let me draw it right here, sorry. Maybe, perhaps I was supposed to do this in the beginning, but so the light source or the sun has to come this way. And so when the light comes, it goes like this and rebounds, right? So over here, in this area over here, you need to have a little, it's gotta be a little lighter because that's usually how objects work. Like they have, if it's blocking it by the entire object, obviously you're not gonna see that much reflection of the light because it's blockading the light. But if you have, since light bounces back, it's gonna bounce into this surface and it's gonna hit this area over here, so we want to make it a little bit lighter there. We can just delete this, but I'll keep the little sun so you know what we're working with. It's coming, actually sun is like around here, can see it down there. So same thing, we just select our base circle, and I mean you already have different gradients, so you can choose from one of these. I want to choose this one, and perhaps right there, a little thicker. And you can also go a little darker if you want. So let's do it on this one, add a new layer, then choose this color, see which one it is, maybe bring it a little bit down, and then do one in the middle right there. There you go. Okay, there you go. So now you see how it's going from light to darkest, and then the light is rebounding or rebouncing, and it's having a little lighter tone there. So pretty much that's how you will start your sphere. But one of the cool things about Procreate is that it has many effects and filters that you can use. That way you make your life easier. So, but since it's a white background, you can't really tell what's going on. So we're gonna add a background. Now to really get the feel of this, we're gonna choose a darker, sort of dark background here. We're gonna draw a line across, and if you press your finger, it's gonna make a straight line. Maybe a little lower, maybe about here. So you just drag and drop, and you get your back or darker background. We're gonna eliminate this one since we cannot see it. And I mean, you can leave it white, or you can add another background for the floor. Let's say this one's not gonna be that dark. It's gonna be lighter, but not too light, right? There you go. But I don't know which one you guys prefer. Maybe just leave it white. There you go. So now we have the three-dimensional sphere, but it doesn't look quite three-dimensional, right? Because you have layers over here. So how do we remove the layers using Procreate? Well, actually, it's one of the features that I really enjoy. So what you do is one faster solution for this. You can use different strokes, like the airbrush stroke, and make it into a softer. This one gives you like a soft, sort of blended finish, like this, and you can just blend it in if you really want to. Another one, you can use the smudge tool if you like. Wait, it's not on the right layer, so I want to be on the right layer. Let's say the top white one. Yeah, type one. Now we use the smudge tool. Also, the smudge tool has different types of brush that you can use, and you can just start smudging it until you get that smudge or blending in effect. That way it starts looking like a real three-dimensional sphere or ball. But what I usually do is, sometimes it works good, but sometimes it doesn't, so it depends on your design, is I select the tool that I want to blend in, and then I go to effects or adjustments, and then I go to Gaussian blur. This tool has helped me like a lot in different designs aspects. So you're just gonna sort of click and drag, and then you can see this little bar is gonna increase, and it's gonna increase the intensity of your blur. So if I go all the way, it's gonna blur it in. If I go less, it's gonna blur less. So right here it gives you the percentage. So maybe, yeah, maybe around there. There you go. Don't worry about if it overlaps outside the circle. We're gonna take care of that in a little bit. So we do the exact same thing to the other layers. So we go to adjustments, Gaussian blur, and we just start blurring until it starts getting a little bit. So you start seeing vanishing the layer. Right here, same thing. Then you get your darker one. There you go. The less darker one. Second to last, I'll say. Right there. There you go. And then the cast lighting. Yeah, right there. Perfect. So now you see they're starting to look like a sphere, sort of. And actually we can do the exact same thing to the shadows. That way it's not like a solid shadow. You make the illusion that it looks sort of realistic. So a bit of Gaussian blur, just a shadow right there. You can also decrease the opacity so it's not too dark. You can leave it there, but in this case we actually want 100%. Alright, so now I have my sphere, but you see because of the blur it overlapped the actual shape. But don't worry, we're gonna fix that right now. So the way you fix it is the exact same thing as coloring in. You're gonna select the original shape, and over here you're gonna go to invert. This means that now you get to draw anything except the shape you selected. So let's say I want to create a new layer, and I can draw here, but I cannot draw inside the area, this area. So I can draw all over here, but except this area that is inverted, right? So I'm going to delete this. So all you do is you grab your eraser, you make it into a big, you know, a mid-size or big stroke. And then you start eliminating the parts that went outside the circle. So you start over here, let's make it a little bigger. Then it's the largest one, the widest one, then it's the second to lightest one, then it's the mid-size one, then it'll be, I think it's the mid-size dark, and the mid-size. And I think that's it. Is it? Yeah, I think that's it. One more run through. And finally, you just unselect. So if you can see, there you go, you 3D sort of sphere. Sort of a quick process. I mean, you can start adding more to it if you really want to, but this is like the basic way that you can sort of create a sphere on using Procreate. And also it's one of the fundamentals and the elements of design. So if they give you an assignment and you just want to practice before you get into the paper, or if you're doing paper, or if you want to sort of mix both, which digital and you know, traditional media, which is paper and graphite, you can sort of see how the process is of making a three-dimensional object. You know, it all depends on the light source and then your cast shadows. Of course, you can also add more stuff later. Like for example, if I want to increase or make it look more real on the cast shadow, I can do another one that's not as dark. Wait, let me go back to my studio pen, and I can do another one, another ellipse, perhaps around there. I can do Gaussian blur, just blur as much as I can, and I can just minimize the opacity a little bit, or maybe a lot. So, and that will add to my design. It's probably not as perfect, but you probably get the idea. Let's see. Increase over here, increase over here. So sometimes objects, they have actually two shadows depending on the light source. Maybe right there, 35%. So it's not much of a difference, but you can tell there is something going on there that's starting to make it a little bit more realistic. And that's pretty much it for design. You try to create that illusion of whatever the design is. In this case, it's three-dimensional. So remember that. So once you're done, you can actually merge all the layers. You select them all. You can create a group, and then you just flatten the group. So from a three-dimensional sphere, or actually from a circle with nothing, to a sphere with composed of lighting, shadows, and yeah, pretty much, and blurring the different layers so you can get that three-dimensional look. So that's one way to do it. I usually do different styles, but this is one of the fastest ways that you can sort of intend and make. So that's it for today. I hope you guys liked this video. Make sure you guys follow and subscribe. I also have my other social medias if you guys want to follow me, if you guys want to ask me some questions. I'll try to make more videos, and until next time, this is Juan Design.